Vixen, our cowgirl over here, opens up to pocket kings. An extremely powerful hand that you want to 3-bet your opponents with. And that is exactly what she did. But against her is Zephysh holding the pocket queens, who snap calls her bet. Now only the cards will decide who will win this one. It's time to deal the flop.
Vixen, 2 kings.
Get her.
With a massive 3-bet. Zephysh, the queens.
They made a small mistake on stream which will be fixed. DQ with the ace-3 is folded and the pot is smaller. Even though our cowgirl queen was in the lead, this queen on the flop changes everything. But as she is first to act, Vixen decides to portray strength and bet $2,600. Zephysh thinks for a second, so he doesn't reveal that he is holding the current nuts and casually calls Vixen's bet. I would have 3-bet her here for sure.
And a king on the turn. Set over set. 14K in the pots. It's in. The money's in.
That turn all but guarantees Vixen's win. Zephysh only out is to make quads, and as you can see, there is only 2% chance of that happening. Now Vixen has only one question, and that is, how much does she bet? She takes 39 seconds of thinking before going.
All in.
There's the all-in Zephysh and a snap. What a disaster! $32,000 in the pot.
I always go once.
Yeah, sure.
Vixen calls for 1 time,
Nice, huh?
and the river breaks.
Mikki, our hero, kicks things off with King 10 offsuit. Lucky, our villain today, is with Jack 9 offsuit, ready to bluff hard. But before we get to the pot of more than $130,000, we first have to go through a limper pre-flop, as they all just call. The flop delivers perfectly for Mikki and flops the best hand on the table. That has 71% equity.
Mikki's flopped the joint. Mikki's flopped the joint with the King 10 and he leads.
On the other hand, Lucky with his 2 pair is feeling lucky, pun intended, and raises Mikki's 3,000 bet to 10,000.
And Lucky has raised, so here we go. Mikki leads with the nuts.
Yeah.
Lucky's raised. It's over to Berkey now.
Matt with his top pair queen seems okay with limping until the end of times and just calls Lucky's bet.
He plays goofy-footed, man.
Mikki, done with all this limping nonsense, decides to aggressively 3-bet and make people who want to play pay a premium. Both Lucky and Matt bite the bait and call, but I wonder how much longer can Matt justify feeding the pot with that kind of hand. The turn card is a 4 of hearts, which opens the backdoor flush draw. But as Mikki is holding one of the blockers, he is feeling good in this hand.
Check
And
on
Lucky
Mikki.
is all in.
As soon as Mikki bets 20,000, Lucky's still hoping on his straight to somehow pan off even as a bluff. And he shoves all in for $33,000, bringing the pot to $120,000. They decide to go 2 times, where the first river card was 3 of hearts, and the second one was the 10 of hearts, both of which end up as a win for Mikki.
Lucky is gone.
Flop the nuts on me.
Flop the stones.
Sitting in the hijack, Britney's holding ace-king suited. With a decisive 3-bet to $5,400, she's laying down the law early. Meanwhile, Andy looks down at King-Jack offsuit, a speculative hand that's not exactly built for combat against strong aggression. The turn delivers the 7 of clubs, adding even more tension to an already volatile board. Andy's check here reflects a cautious approach. With mid-pair and an open-ended straight draw to the best straight, his hand is decent but incredibly vulnerable. Britney's bet here is a calculated play. With the nuts already in hand, she's targeting value from hands exactly like Andy's. Weaker top pairs, drawing hands, or overvalued 2-pair combos. Her sizing is designed to keep her opponent in the hand while still charging for potential draws. The river brings the 9 of clubs, completing the board, giving Andy a mirage of a chance by completing his straight. By moving all in, she polarizes her range, representing either a flush or a bluff. To Andy, this could look like a desperate attempt to steal the pot, especially if he assumes Britney could have missed a draw. But in reality, she's holding the best hand with ace-king suited, making this shove a calculated bet for value. As Britney shoves all in, she leans back slightly in her chair, adjusts her posture, and casually fiddles with her water bottle. By appearing unsure, Britney shifts Andy's focus away from her strong betting line. Instead of piecing together the consistent story of strength her bets have told, he might convince himself she's trying to scare him out of the pot with a missed draw or a weaker hand. It's a subtle, calculated risk that only works because of Britney's complete control over her table presence. Andy makes the call, sliding in $53,700. The hands are tabled, and Britney reveals her ace-king suited, locking in the nuts with a Broadway straight.
150.
Jennifer Tilly kicks things off with pocket sixes. This is a decent hand to entertain a small raise with and see if luck is on your side.
Back on Arden. She calls the 3-bet as well, so 3-way to the flop. Oh my word, set over set and Griffin's flop top pair?
This is going to be bad for Griffin, but it's going to be real bad for Arden.
With the board that the flop delivers, everyone has something to bet about. But instead of that, Tilly and Cho decide to check. With that in mind, our weak top pair is trying to take control of the board by shooting a small bet of $2,500. Tilly is loving it because other than a set of kings, nothing else on the board beats her, and she would love to see this pot growing, so naturally she calls. Miss Cho, on the other hand, has a completely different plan. She is not waiting for the pot to grow. She is growing it herself. She does that by firing a $9,400 bet. Now Benger has a choice. Entertain this top pair, or realize the truth and just give up.
Why is he so serious? He's like a goober 99% of the time.
The angry man quickly decides to fold and not pursue the king. On the other hand, Tilly is more than happy to oblige Miss Cho by re-raising to $30,000 with her set of sixes.
Oh boy.
Jen re-raises $30,000.
At this point, Miss Cho should know the deep trouble she finds herself in, but still decides to go ahead and call on her set of fives. The turn delivers the 9 of clubs, a card that is completely irrelevant to both of them. If I was in the position of Tilly, I would be betting pot here. What would you? Let me know in the comments below. I guess Tilly is not so happy about my jamming suggestion, so she decides to check here and wait for something magical on river. Same thing for Miss Cho. In her case, though, that is in her favor.
And Arden spikes a 1-outer. She's got quads. Meanwhile, Jen has rivered a full house.
Buckle up, because this hand just went from pretty sick to absolutely bonkers.
People say patience is a virtue, but in Tilly's case, her patience came to bite her from behind. The river delivers the only card that can save Miss Cho, and that is the 5 of clubs. Now the only question is, will Tilly get baited by her now full house hand? Or will she read her for the quads Miss Cho has? And as we all thought she should do, Miss Cho goes.
Rolling.
There it is.
This is not good.
No, it sure isn't.
If Jen calls, this will be the biggest pot of the game.
Arden, you have quads because I can't beat quads.
Does she know?
I don't think you have kings full. And I don't think you have 9s full. You might have 5s full.
That's a call.